Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Polonia Warszawa Building a Nation, the analysis days, or rather the first of its name, so to speak. So, those of you that aren't aware of kind of what this is, it's sort of in three parts. The first part, we'll go through, look at every player in the squad, assess their development and whatnot, and because of this skin, we're actually going to have even more ability to do that, which is brilliant. Then we'll go and look at the league itself and the individual player and team stats for that. And then we'll go and do a detailed squad analysis, comparing the players on specific metrics that we'll be looking out for each position. And that way we can plan where we're going to go in the future. Now, it's a little bit more relaxed. There's no face cam, obviously, because you don't really need to see my face for this. I'm a bit out of breath. I've just been hoovering up. But yeah, so you might hear little clicking noises and stuff because I'm taking sips of my water because my throat gets very dry for talking for an hour. So I've got like a litre of water next to me and I usually get through that in the recordings. And it all ends up on my back because I get a very sweaty back. Anyway, moving on from that. Firstly, thank you for the support on the series. It's been really, really cool. I've been a bit overwhelmed by it. I didn't know how well a series with, a team from the fourth tier of Polish football, let's face it, was going to do. But the support from, firstly, the fans from Poland is awesome, but all of you that are just watching the series normally as well, it's really, really great that you've taken to it, and I think we're really starting to build something pretty damn cool at this rate. So, thought we'd start off on the page of Comrade Catholic, because that's what we're going to call him from now on. Probably, he's got the best star rating in the entire team at the moment, which is surprising, because I've actually not been that impressed with him at times. He's got 3 assists and 1 goal for us this year. His goal was a belter, it's fair to say. But I don't know. I feel like when we see Jaziak, you'll get an idea of why I feel like Jaziak might be a man for us going further forward. But Kastelik could definitely do a job for us at the back. He is still only 21 years old. He's only on £100 a week as well. He's got another 2 years left on his contract, so everything is good on that one. His consistency might be an issue there, in fairness. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with him at the moment. Marcin Kluska. What can we say about Marcin Kluska, in all honesty? Look at all the 9s. He's literally up to the 9s with his 9s. A lot of pros about him, too. He's a potential player for the third tier in future. Good for this tier at the moment. His training happiness isn't great. He's not very consistent and doesn't like important matches. Well, you could have fooled me, Marcin, because let's face it, look at his stats though. 14 appearances, 2 substitute appearances, 10 goals and 6 assists. Now, I'm fairly certain about this, that he's scored 6 of those goals in 2 matches. I feel like he's got 2 hat-tricks for us this year, and nobody else has got even 1 hat-trick for us, so that is quite impressive. I think his height definitely helps. Being 6'1" allows him to out-jump the likes of people like Jan Peltz when he plays in that position. I'll be very interested to see how Peltz does, but again, we'll compare that sort of metric a bit more when we get into the player stuff, just to sort of see how they're doing, so we can just a word or two in each one. Sebastian Kobiera, he's not had as many appearances as I would have liked just because of his injuries and whatnot, so I might be on the lookout for a DM, particularly with that price wages on. Then again, it doesn't matter so much now that we're moving up a tier, but this is why I didn't want to have wage rise clauses, because most of our squad aren't going to get a wage rise from us going up to the next division, so we're keeping a lot of that money. Kochinievsky, I've been very, very happy with his performances this year. I think he's been excellent. Okay, he's made a few mistakes, but a little issue here and there isn't too much of a difference. Kowalczyk is our obviously backup goalkeeper, so there's not much to say about him. Rafael Majtika, he's a guy I've got on a trial at the moment just to have a little look at as a defensive midfielder potentially. Don't know what we're going to do with that one. It was just there. Mateusz Malik as well, another fantastic player for us. I've been impressed with him, but I want to see a little bit more of him. As you can see from his stats, 1 goal this year in the league is not good enough. When you look at the amount of goals that Souček was getting from that same position, I feel like Malik just hasn't quite got it. And maybe the fact that he's 5'8" is having something to do with that. He's not able to win that ball in the air. And I do think that perhaps a plus 6 foot winger on both sides. We need an Andrava solo, really. That's what I'm thinking. Piotr Moslanko, of course, sponsored by Owen Fitzsimons over on the Patreon. He's had a really top year to the point where he's overtaken Voidiger as my man, but he is also 28 years old as well. So, not doing great in the youth in that position, and he's not very tall either. And Napora, been on loan, got a couple of assists, weren't amazing, but we couldn't really play him that much, and that was kind of the issue with him, I think, for the most part. Naberski, he's come in and done a decent job. He's played in multiple positions for us, in fairness to him. He's got a goal, got an assist, played in defensive midfield, played at centre-back. He's been all right, I've got to say. Sebastian Olszak has mostly been playing in cup matches. He's started a few games in the league, but has not really done anything. He's been better in the cup games, it's fair to say. Jan Peltz, of course, 7 goals and 3 assists this year. He is 6 foot tall, so he's still pretty solid on that left-hand side and has done a decent job. That 14 crossing and 14 dribbling, I really do think sets him apart a little bit. But it's hard to deny what Kluska's done for this team. But I do wonder if Peltz has got the ability to just go that little bit further, because he does have quite poor heading, which is a thing that his compatriot doesn't have. Christian Piachara, Ah, what an absolute lad. Wonderful player for us this year. 17 goals, more than a goal every other game, which is more than I could have asked for him, frankly. 31 goals in 49 appearances for us since he rejoined the club. It's fantastic. Pribodovsky, my man who can't seem to make up his mind whether he wants to be at the club or not. I still think he's a very, very good player for us, but I would like a little bit more out of him. He does keep things ticking over nicely with only 9 passing and 10 vision. Think what we could do with a player in that role that has like 15 passing and 15 vision. I think that could be the fulcrum of this team to a ridiculous level, in all honesty. Shabat, he kind of faded out of existence, really, once we started getting the likes of Kasalak and Yaziak in the team, frankly. Oh, Yaziak is weighted much higher, actually. It's just because when we were on Kasalak's page, it was judging this by him being a centre-back. So Yaziak isn't that far off the pace, as you can see. Tobiasz, our goalkeeper, 13 clean sheets. I'm pretty happy with that, and I think he would have got more as well if I hadn't buggered up the tactic. Vitrakovsky, I'm unhappy with this guy. In the games he has played in, he's been woeful, to be perfectly honest. Getting booked, doing nothing of note. Despite his high potential and whatnot, I think his lack of heading ability, I don't know, he just doesn't seem to have what it takes for us at the moment. Wisniewski, wow, we talked about him recently. Brilliant lad. Voidiga, yeah, I think his contract's up in the summer, and I think I am probably going to let him go just because I feel like we can do better and save a bit on wages too. As much as he has played for us for quite a long time, I just feel like we have to move players on eventually, because if I tried to extend his contract, he'd want like £300 a week at this point. Zavshikrai as well. 14 passing and 13 vision. I think he's been really solid this year. You can tell, actually, though, look, 1 goal and 5 assists, which is much better than Pribodovsky. So maybe Zavshikrai is actually the man that should be starting there next season, unless someone else comes along. He is looking much more like what I want to see, to be perfectly honest. And he's got a lovely bit of pace and agility, too, which is very useful for what we're actually trying to do. Zemborovsky, my main man at the back of the defence, no goals this year, but he's been really solid. He's still got a year left on his contract, which is nice. Zmuda, he's played he's played 1 game off, 10 games off the bench and 1 start, but he's merely a backup for us at the moment, and that's fine. Adam Bloomer, again, hasn't played a lot, but he has got a goal and 2 assists in the cup, so no league games for him. Michael Felix, 7, he's not made a single start for us in a competitive match, so I can't really judge him too harshly, I suppose, when you look at it, really. I mean, he's got no goals, no assists in any competition. He's not even started games off in the cup, to be honest. Gora, he's done all right, to be perfectly honest. Not so much in the league. He's got a few goals, but mostly it's been substitute appearances again for him, which has drawn his rating down. Lucas Hansel, I think it was a mistake to bring him in. I am regretting it, and if we can move him on in the summer, I will do, because he's expensive, and he's still got another year left on his contract. I think that was a big error on my part. Yaziak, though, look at that. 11 starts for us, and he's already got 4 assists. I'm a fan of him. Despite only having that 6 crossing, it's better than Kasalek, and I think that's making a bit of a difference for us. He doesn't have the height that Kasalek does, though, which I would say. And we're back to Comrade Kasalek. So the squad's looking all right for now, but we'll see really where we need to improve once we get into the nitty-gritty of things. So let's go over to the league and take a look. I'll have a sip of my drink or two right now. So here's the league stats. No surprises. Best average possession in the league at 59. I think it would have been more again if we hadn't had that bad spell. Skierniewice, despite being down towards the bottom, they keep a lot of the ball, it's fair to say, but we've won that, and that's always what I would have wanted. We've taken 7 penalties and scored 7 penalties. I think Piachara scored 6 of them, and I think Wisniewski or Napora got 1 other. That's not bad. Headers 1, down towards the bottom, but I guess it's because we're keeping the ball on the floor. Headers 1 ratio, that could do it a bit better, but I think we can just improve the height in certain areas. We're not amazing on discipline, but that's fine. I think we had 1 red card. No, we've had no red cards. We have had red cards, but I think they're in the cup. I'm fairly certain we got a red card because Adam Bloomer got sent off, but I'm pretty certain that was a cup game. The form stuff is irrelevant. Goals. We scored 15 more goals than anyone else. 67 goals this season is perfect. Cross completion, 18%. Good. Dominating that one is what I like to see. And we've also completed 283 crosses, the most of any team. Goals from corners, 4. Isn't bad, but Womsha absolutely dominating that one. Direct free kicks, we scored a few. 3 of those, all probably scored by Maslanka. Indirect free kicks, look at that, only 1. I just cannot seem to come up with a strategy of scoring indirect free kicks. All throughout this game this year, I've struggled to find any kind of setup that works for us. And unfortunately, I think it's because AI teams seem to be able to do this thing where they can lump the ball to the back post and cluster 4 players there. But I don't have the ability to mark those 4 players with the standard tactical instructions, and also from an attacking perspective, I can't get my players to do that. So I think that's why we always seem to be struggling on these, because if we'd added a few more goals from this, it would have been brilliant. Pass completion, best in the league, an average of 83%. Skierniewice up there as well, but we're just dwarfing everybody else, and that's what I want to see. Passes completed, they actually completed more passes than us too, so fair play to them. Chances created, we didn't create the most chances in the league, but we're very, very good at converting them, it would seem. But I think that's because we're getting a lot of long-range goals, or goals from just outside where it would be considered a chance. And again, if we could increase our shots on target ratio, that would help a lot too. We have had the most shots on target overall, though, at 267. Conversion rate is 11%. It's not bad, but it could definitely be improved, and that's always nice to see. Fouls against, we'll get winning a few of those. Dribbles per game, though, 7 overall, because we've got some great dribblers like Jan Pelt. Best defence in the league. Now, technically, Legia haven't finished, and some of the other games still haven't finished, but it's going to be mostly the same there. We've conceded the least, and I'm all right with that. Conceded from corners, 2. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. Conceded from direct free kicks. We've only conceded 1 from direct free kicks. Oh, it's indirect free kicks where we struggle, isn't it? 3. It's not the end of the world. It could definitely be better. Clean sheets, they've actually kept the most at 14. Ah, that sucks. Because, but they must have had a different goalkeeper, so we might still win it in terms of the goalkeepers themselves. Fouls made, we're not a very foully team, always nice. Tackles won, we're not winning a lot of tackles because we've got the ball so much. But when we are having to win tackles, we're winning them, which is nice. Penalties conceded, the 2, which isn't too bad. Attendance is average overall, second highest in the league, which is surprising, actually. By capacity, we're right down at the bottom because we've got a 7,000-seater stadium. So there is that. No sellouts for us, as you would imagine. Highest attendance, though, was us with 2,300. That was our home match against Legia early on in the season, which we won 2-1, I think. Lowest attendance, our lowest attendance was the best in the league, which is good. Transfer spend, we did spend £25,000. I assume that was before I came in because I don't remember signing anyone for money. Salary per annum, of course, is also the second highest in this division. It is in effect the highest in this division because, let's face it, Legia don't really count because they're spending £7 million a year. They have the highest salary in Poland, let alone this division. So let's have a look at the player stats individually here. I think next year I'll go ahead and let the other teams finish their games first before we do that. Actually, no, screw it. I'm just going to do that now. I know it's not going to matter for this one, but we'll just quickly get through the other games. I don't know when they are. Okay, this is absolute bullshit. I literally just said to the guys, if we sign the right players, we can stay up next season and do well, right? They then said, you're not... one of the problems with the last boss is he wasn't ambitious enough. He didn't back us enough. So I then went, all right, we'll finish a bit higher than that. And then they're like, oh my God, you're being unrealistic. What the hell is that crap, SI? Like, come on. It's not difficult to fix that shit, is it? Moving on, that is pathetic. While we're on the topic, 3 new sponsorship deals worth 100k a year, which is nice. And a new scouting budget, which is very nice, actually. That can help us get a youth package. Okay, so Legia did win their final game of the season, so they finished 13 points behind us in the end. Just realised it's nearly July, and it said that there isn't a pre-season break, so it's just you go straight into pre-season again. That's really weird. I barely got any time to do any business at all, at this rate. So appearances overall, we don't really care about that. Games won, fair enough. Kuznetsov was on the pitch for the most games won. Games lost, we don't really care about that. Nobody on that one, which is good. Shouldn't be anyone on the red cards one either, really. Nope, of course, because we didn't have any. Player of the match, Womsha. This guy, bloody hell. That's not bad, considering he's playing at left back for a... We'll have a little scouty scout on him as well, I think. Why is it not letting me... I hope that's actually doing it. But Wisniewski's up there too, Pichara in there too, and Kluska as well. Distance covered, nobody at all, which is surprising. I suppose we're letting the ball do most of that. Per 90 minutes, Malik's actually on there too, which is nice. Average rating, he's probably the best player in the league this season, so that is definitely something to look at. But Maslanka actually up there too for us, which is very nice. Wisniewski in there, Peltz, Kaselik, Pichara, Zemborovski. Headers one, nobody there at all. Pichara with 17, Wisniewski 14, Kluska got 10 in the league as well. Average minutes per goal. Even Gora was on there too, which isn't bad. Shots overall, I mean, Wisniewski up there at 34 years old. So yeah, that's going to be an issue for him. I think he's going to be declining fairly fast. He's getting a lot of shots on target too. Shots on target ratio, I assume, is higher. Jan Peltz at 57. It would be nice to have some players on here though. Conversion rate, Pichar at 20%, pretty good. Saulchek, how's he doing at his new side? He's not really played that many games for them and hasn't really done that well for them when he has played games for them. So I guess there's that. Team goals, obviously on the pitch for the most of them, that is. Pichara with 6 penalties out of 6. Lovely old job. Assists, oh no wonder. Look at 12 assists. Where's he been playing for them? If he's actually been playing at left back for them and he's got 12 assists this season and 5 goals, there's no way he's played left back. There cannot be a way. Can we actually see where he's played for them? Holy Jesus. He's played at left back for Womsha this year and has got 12 assists and 5 goals. He must be taking free kicks as well. He's brilliant. I'm going to have a lovely look at him. My God. Key passes, Wisniewski, 40. Zavchikry's up there too with 37 and not a dicky bird from Pliberovsky. That's interesting. Chances created, nobody at all. Okay. Pass completion. Conrad... Oh, no, that's a different Conrad. But 90% for Zavchikry, 89 there, and Kobiera 88. But again, nowhere to be seen for Preborovsky at all. Peltz at 87, Wisniewski at 86. Zavchik, that man knows how to pass a ball, that's fair to say. Cross completion, Kluska at 24, Vaslanka 20, Peltz 20. Really, really solid there. Dribbles per game, that's the thing. Sauchek would just skin people, whereas Malik is not bad, though, it's fair to say. Team conceded, Zemborovsky, wow. We've only conceded 13 goals while he's been on the pitch. That is brilliant. And Pribodovsky, we've been pretty solid with him there too. That's kind of interesting too. Mistakes leading to goal. Oh dear. Kochanowski with 4. That's a bit of a concern for me. He's been good, but 4 mistakes leading to goals on the year is very, very bad. Most mistakes overall, at least he's not on there. Key tackles, no one on there either. Key headers, probably no one on there either. No, that's fine. Interceptions, interestingly, no one there either. Headers 1. Kobiera has won 79% of his headers. We definitely need to get some better defensive players from headed perspective. Yeah. See, that's cheeky for me because he's only played 17 games. I mean, he's played half the season, so of course he's got the best defensive record. Whereas Tobias would probably, if you balance that out, he would have a worse one. God damn it. Clean sheets. Well, at least we've won that one, it would seem like anyway. And it's right down towards the bottom because he's just not having to face many shots at all. Right, now onto the main bit where we actually compare the players. The fun bit, I suppose. Right, so I thought we'd start with goalkeepers. Goalkeepers. No point in doing goalkeepers. We've only had one goalkeeper that's really actually played for us this year, so it makes sense to just skip straight to centre-backs. I've excluded Kastelik because he only played there 4 times. I'm mainly focusing on the guys that have played a decent number of games there. Vitrakovsky will still take into account because he's played enough games. I just want to see how he actually adds up to the others. So in terms of minutes played, Kochanowski's played the most with Naberski in there too. Naberski's played enough games at centre-back for me to think, yeah, this is the guy that's played, I think he's played like 20 games there, so that's fine. It might be skewed a little bit in the other guy's favour because he's played in a slightly different role. So pass completion, Vitrakovsky at 86% is actually very, very good. But the others aren't too far behind. They're nearing the 80% and above. Zembrowski is the only guy that dips below that. I feel like Vitrakovsky might have had a slightly worse one had he played longer, but that's still not bad when you think about it. Passes completed per 90 minutes as well. The lad is playing the ball around fairly comfortably, it's fair to say. And maybe he just had some really unlucky games. I mean, looking at this, the lad can really pick a pass, and he plays way more passes. Like, there's a lot more. And maybe it is just because of the amount of minutes he's played. But he started 6 games, This does include cup games against poorer sides, though, so you've got to take that into account. Team goals conceded per 90 minutes. Again, we concede... Oh, sorry, these are goals scored, isn't it? So we score more goals with those guys in the team massively. Vitrakovsky, the team just doesn't seem to score goals with him in the team. Key passes, he's made none. So he's made a lot of passes, but none of them have been important. Whereas Naberski's made a definite larger amount, but that could be because he's played as a defensive midfielder. Team conceded per 90 minutes. Look at that, we concede way more goals with Vitrakovsky in the team. And this is the things that matter to me, yeah? He's made more passes, fine. But none of them have been important passes, and we concede way more goals with him in the team. The others are much of a muchness, although Zemborovsky with only 0.57 goals per game conceded with him in the team. Tackles 1 ratio, they're all relatively good. Naberski's is worse, but Zemborovsky at 96% is fucking amazing, I've got to say. And 100% for Vitrakovsky, but we just look worse with him in the team. Interceptions per 90 minutes, again, he's the lowest on that one, and Naberski has made the most, but again, that could be because of his defensive midfield role, but it's nice to see. He's still lacking on that one. Headers 1, again, Vitrakovsky very, very poor. The others have been pretty poor as well, and I really do think we need to have some big, strong, 6'4", massive heading, towering centre-backs, because I think the way that teams play against us, that's definitely coming into it. It would be fair, and you can see his form has been so poor compared to the others. They've all been relatively close together, those 3. I do think, though, we could potentially sign some more in the summer, though, because Zemborovsky's getting older, and I want some youngsters that can really strengthen that back line. I think we can still do better than we are with those guys. You can see that their potentials are all capped at 4 stars already because they've already turned of age, so to speak. So I feel like we definitely need to look into that. Vitrakovsky can stick around, but he is also already 21 and he's showing no signs of looking like he's going to be an amazing player for us at the moment. Based on these stats, sure, he hasn't played that many minutes, but there's definitely... He's played against weaker oppositions, for the most part, I'd have to say, but in so doing, we've still managed to concede more goals with him in the team. So there's that. All right, let's move on to fullbacks. This will be interesting. So we've actually got a big list of fullbacks. We've got 3 on each side, so there's a real amount of comparison to make, and they've all played at least 700 odd minutes, so enough for me to make a judgment, I feel like. So this is going to be very interesting. So looking at the most minutes, we've actually got, Kaslik on the right, Voidiger interesting on the left, but Maslanka, Yaziak's played a decent amount, Shabat as well, as is Zmuda. So this should give us a really good idea of who's performing well and who isn't, because this is going to be great, because maybe it won't play into what I've been thinking. So from a creative aspect, Shabat actually has a decent amount of assists. The most, in fact, with Kamil Yaziak just in behind him. So, to me, I feel like Yaziak probably still, I would much rather use him because he's better current ability, he's younger, there's a lot more things to like about him, and he's only just falling short of that. And you can see that he's been better from a creative standpoint than Konrad Kaslik. It's just undeniable. Zmuda on the left, though, has been pretty solid with 2 assists in only 6 starts, but again, it could be the opposition, but still, Maslanka not too bad, definitely better than Voidiger, so he's definitely the better player of those two, but Zmuda's certainly given us something to think about in there too, which is all I'm saying here. He's given us something to think about. Chances created per 90 minutes, Yaziak, again, 0.33, he is dominating that one over Shabat, and Kaslik is nowhere to be seen on that one. He's creating more than twice the number of chances per 90 minutes than Konrad Kaslik is. So maybe Kaslik could move into the centre, win some headers for us. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that one. Maslanka, though, creating some decent opportunities, more than Zmuda and Voidiger. So Maslanka, I think, is definitely standing out as the best player on the left-hand side. And Yaziak, I think that was actually, looking at it now, he's looking like a better and better signing. To be honest, I thought he was a solid player, but he now appears to be turning into something quite good. Pass completion, right, interesting. Zmuda, 85%, which is great. Yaziak, 79, 79, 79. Shabat, 71. Like, his passing is much worse than everybody else's. Everybody else is relatively good. Zmuda, maybe his would come down a bit if he played more games. But they're all just below 80. I would like them to be above 80, ideally. I want everybody on the team, really, to be passing above 80. Which is crazy to even think that. Like at Stockport, if they were near 70, I'd be happy. But again, Yaziak doing a good job. He's not like outstripping anyone majorly there, but it's nice to see. Passes completed per 90 minutes. Maslanka, 56 passes per 90 minutes. That is huge in comparison. It would appear as though there's a lot more passes completed from that left-hand side than there is on the right, though. But you can see that he's just playing way more passes overall. Whereas Kaslik and Yaziak and that down towards the bottom there, he plays more, though. But what I'm really interested in is key passes per 90 minutes. This is going to be very interesting. So Yaziak, again, nearly 1 key pass a game at 0.9. Kaslik at 0.71 and Shabat on 0.71. So here's the thing. Here's the weird thing. The left-hand side is making more passes per 90 minutes overall. Like, way more. But the right-hand side is creating better quality passes and creating some actual opportunities. I'll be interested to see what their chances created like, if we can actually see that. I don't think we can. I don't have that metric turned on for this, but that's something worth noting. Maslanka dominating on that one too, though, on the left. So I think he is definitely the best player of that left-hand side. But Zmuda looks like he could be a reasonably solid understudy for him, to be honest. Like, he's got decent ability already when you compare him here, and apparently has a little bit more potential. So maybe could go even further than that. Voidiger's average rating, much worse as well. So Yaziak, yeah, pleased with him. Him and Maslanka look like the 2 starters for next year unless we find someone brilliant. Dribbles per game. Again, Yaziak flying. He's completing more than 1 dribble per game, whereas that left-hand side, they're just not doing that at all. Well, Voidiger's okay. But again, Yaziak is really showing that he is a bloody good player, to be honest. Those assists he's been getting towards the end of the year have been really, really good. Shots on target, not that important. Crosses completed. This will be a fun one to see. Maslanka, 20. Yaziak, 19. That's what we want to see. Zmuda at 17 isn't bad, but again, look at this. Shabat 14 and Kaslik 13. Like, he is completing like a huge amount more crosses than they are, and that is making way more opportunities for us in the long run. It's undeniable there. And yeah, Maslanka as well, completing way more crosses. Not too many more than Zmuda, and not too many more there, but it's still a noticeable difference for me, and that's quite important. Defensively, though, team conceded per 90 minutes. Again, Yaziak, 0.41. Zmuda, not bad either. Maslanka up there too. Voidiger, poor. Kaslik, a lot worse. Yaziak's been on the field for some really top defensive performances, it's fair to say. Mistakes leading to goal, one of those for Shabat as well. Tackles won ratio, Yaziak, 100%. Kaslik at 83 isn't bad either. Maslanka at 88 isn't awful when you compare it to his teammates there. Interceptions per 90 minutes. Yaziak's made the least of those, in fairness. Kaslik probably with his head, I'm guessing, but that is really poor. So Kamil Yaziak on the old defensive side of things, perhaps with his interceptions, not too good. Nor is he great in the air, whereas Maslanka isn't great either. Voidiger's not too bad there. Kaslik is great because he is 6'4", But I feel like next year, Maslanka and Yaziak could easily do a job for us in the next league up, unless we find someone amazing in those positions. But having Kasalik around as well, and Zmuda there as a backup, isn't too bad. I feel like losing Przemysław, Shabat, and Wojdia in the summer isn't going to cause us any problems, and it gets some quite large wages off the bill, and gets some of the older players out the side to allow us to have more youngsters coming through, which I think is important because they're not outperforming these guys at all. So now let's look at defensive midfielders, and it's really just a comparison of Nyberski and Kobiera, I have to say. Maybe Olczak too? Okay, next up, Nyberski, Kobiera, and Olczak. Now, we've got to be careful because Nyberski played a lot of games at centre-back too, and Olczak played a few in the midfield zone slightly further up the pitch as well. So I have to read into this what we can, but be careful at the same time. Kobiera, as far as I know, played all his games at DM though, so to have an 89% pass completion is bloody brilliant, to be fair. Nyberski at 82 probably had a better one when he was playing. I wish you could differentiate about the matches they played in certain positions, but you can't do that, unfortunately. Olczak, not too bad, but I think he did... Actually, let's have a look and see how many games he played further up the pitch. So he played at DM... Oh, he actually played DM all 12 times he played. That's kind of weird. I swear I played him further up than that, but there you go. So we can take this into account. His passing was pretty solid. Key passes, slightly less per 90 minutes. Well, actually, not slightly less. It's a notable amount less. And he's also won 97% of his tackles too. Nyberski's sort of falling short on virtually all of these metrics, although he does have more interceptions. Could be from him playing centre-back though. But Kobiera definitely winning that one. His headers-1 ratio, they're all kind of very close. Aerial duels 1 per 90 minutes. Nyberski, that would make sense. I think he's the tallest, but he's also, again, plays centre-back. Whereas Olczak is getting beaten in the air way too often. We do concede less goals with him in the team, but I think he's exclusively played, for the most part, 5 games in the Cup. And he played really well in those matches. But when you look at this, 89% pass completion in the league is still bloody good, and 94% tackles won ain't bad at all. I still think this position needs strengthening, though. I feel like if we can find a really good DM, it could make a huge difference, because Kobiera doesn't seem to have the fitness levels. Like, he's only started 16 games this year, despite being our first choice in this position, because he's been injured so much. I don't know if he's injury prone or not. I don't know if we can actually see this. What's that one? Lacks determination, fairly inconsistent. So maybe not injury prone, but like, I feel like he could have definitely done better, and his average rating's been fairly poor overall. So I do think that the defensive midfield position is one that we'll definitely need to look at. I think that's a position that I'm absolutely going to look to sign someone in. I want some centre-backs, potentially. Maybe some backups in the fullback areas, but I'm all right with that for now. But the first position that I know we absolutely need to strengthen in is the DM spot, because I think that a good passer of the ball here could really make a difference too. But someone that can also put themselves about a bit and throw themselves into tackles to really make shit happen for us. So that's all we can really say about DMs, really, because there's not a lot to compare them to at the moment. So I'll move it one step further up and look at the central midfielders, because this could be kind of cool. So for these guys, we're mainly looking at these three, although I'm not even sure if we can take into account anything Lucas Hansel's done. He's only made 2 starts and he's not played enough minutes. What we're really comparing here is Przyborowski and Zawsikraj to see which of these two, because they're basically equal in their current ability, but obviously Zawsikraj is a lot younger and has got that extra potential going forward. So we'll just see which one's better for what sort of thing. Obviously Zawsikraj's played more minutes, but still, it's enough for us to be able to tell. So goals per 90 minutes, I mean, it's a comfortable win for Przyborowski. He's played a lot less games and has got 2 goals compared to Zawsikraj's 2 goals, but he's done it in like half the number of minutes. So that's definitely worth noting. But what I would say is I'm not really relying on our creative, deep-lying playmaker to score goals. So the fact that they've got any is a bonus, but it's not the end of the world. Where it really comes into play is the assists per 90 minutes. And Zawsikraj is dominating that one. He's got 6 assists this season compared to Przyborowski's 2. And what we're looking from this position is a creative outlet. And 6 isn't amazing, but it's definitely better than it could have been. They've both tied on 91% pass completion. I just want to look at this ourselves. So Zawsikraj in the league, 91, and in the cup, 91. Sorry, 90. Przyborowski in the league, 91, and weirdly in the cup when he did play, 73. So why was he rated so poorly in the table that we just... I swear. Maybe he didn't play enough games to count. Maybe it's because he didn't play 17 starts. I don't know. But yeah, so level on 91 pass percentage completion each. So they're both great at ticking that ball over. But again, more chances created per 90 minutes for Przyborowski. So that's really weird. So he's creating more chances, but Zawsikraj is creating more assists. And maybe that's because... that's worth noting anyway. Look at this, though. Passes completed per game. Nearly 80 passes per game on average. I don't think I've ever seen a player that I've managed have a passes per game that high, and they're both nearly at 80. Zawsikraj slightly better, but it's not by much, is it really? They're both basically the same. 43 key passes, but key passes per 90 minutes, again, 2.14. That's 2 key passes a game on average is phenomenal. But it shows you that Priborowski is right there still. Like, he is doing a phenomenal job in there. He's just not creating as many goals as Zavchikrai, and I don't know why that is. That's kind of interesting to see that be the case. Tackles won 88 and 89. They're both fantastic at that. Priborowski slightly better at the interceptions and a fraction better in the air. He's won more headers as well. But we concede less goals with Zavchikrai in the team, which is interesting because you'd feel like with Priborowski being a tad better defensively, we concede more, but it's a very, very tight one, and they're both covering the same amount of distance per game. God damn. What I'm basically realising here, that we've got 2 fantastic centre midfielders in this team, and I don't really want to remove either of them because they're both doing great. I would like to bring in a youngster, though, that could be a sort of third choice in there, play a load of games in the cups and stuff, and just get some experience next year. Someone with high potential, but isn't quite there yet. I definitely want to improve there because still having 2 players of this quality for one position is fantastic. Priborowski will no doubt throw a tantrum next year again if he doesn't go in the team all the time. So that is something to consider as well. But I am very, very happy with these 2 for this year. They've both been fantastic. Zavchikrai, and he's still 4 years younger too. He's got a long way to improve still, and he's already kind of nearly there so far, and his passing and vision is really, really good. And that might be why he's got better assists, because he's just picking those killer balls a little bit more often. Have any of them got any PPMs? He doesn't have any PPMs, and does Priborowski? No, neither of them do. But he definitely outclasses him in some certain areas. Priborowski's pretty good in the old acceleration and agility and stuff as well. So that's kind of interesting too. Right, let's look at the wingers now. When it comes to wingers, we're mainly looking at these 4. You could count Piachara. I think I played him there once or twice, maybe out of desperation. And same with Mateusz Gora. But it's mostly these 4. So Malik and Napora on the right, and on the left it's Kluska and Peltz. I'm very interested in comparing Kluska and Peltz. That's going to be crazy cool. So, Peltz is the one that has that 5-star potential currently, but he is the only one I believe that... Actually, no. Malik's not been locked in either yet, though, so interesting. So firstly, goals per 90 minutes. Kluska flying away with that one. He's got 11 goals this season, and 10 of them have come in the league. Yes, I know 6 of them came over 2 matches. I'm fairly certain of that. But that shows that Kluska really does have a goal-scoring threat in this team. It's fair to say. He's got a lot of goals, and Peltz has done well on that one too. Napora has actually got a better record with goals than Malik does, and Malik only contributed 1 league goal this year, and that is very, very bad for that right-hand side. You'd expect better from them, and he had that wonderful chance, I think it was actually against Legia in that away game, and he just couldn't quite score it. So there's definitely something to notice in that side of things. And looking at the assists as well, Kluska 0.36. I mean, that is a lot better than Jan Peltz. He's a much better creative player. He's a better goal scorer as well. He is very much staking a claim to be our first choice left-sided winger next season because he's putting in the performances. Peltz has played more games than him as well, so it's not like he's not had the chance in this team. Napora is again slightly edging Malik, but he won't be here next year anyway, so we know we need to strengthen in that right-hand side. It's so obvious because Malik just doesn't seem to quite have it at the moment. We need a new right-sided winger. I'll be very, very keen to bring someone in there. Chances created per 90 minutes. How are we doing on that one? Napora again outplaying Malik, so this is my point. But again, Kluska massively outplaying Jan Peltz there too. He's really racking up big numbers in those positions when Peltz just isn't. Peltz is scoring a reasonable number of goals. I'd be totally fine with that if it wasn't for the fact that Kluska's scoring nearly double, and he's nearly doubling him on assists too, and he's absolutely crushing him when it comes to chance creation too. Jan Peltz, I think he's got a lot to learn this season and next, and he is still younger, remember, so I think he might have to take a back seat though, because clearly we play better when Kluska's in the team. Crosses completed, how are we doing on that one? Kluska 25%. I mean, this is the thing. Peltz at 20% cross completion is actually very, very good. But the fact that Kluska's on 25 is outrageous. Malik does do well on that one, and Napora really doesn't, which is surprising. And as for passing, this is the thing. Jan Peltz is a very good passer of the ball. Malik, not so much. And Kluska is okay somewhere in the middle. Peltz seems to be able to pass the ball well, but he doesn't seem to be quite getting the chances himself. These ones are all kind of thrown across a very small amount. Kluska, again, dominating Malik on that one. Dominating Peltz on that one. But Malik doing an okay job on key passes, which is not too bad. Shots on target percentage. Peltz is very good on that. 62% shots on target, which would explain why he's got the goals that he has. And it makes me think that the only reason Peltz has got the stats that he does have is because of that clinical finishing ability. And he'd probably be even worse off in terms of his actual stats if he didn't have that. But Kluska isn't too bad. If he could push that up a lot, it'd be good. He hits more shots on target. He completes more dribbles. I feel like Marcin Kluska should be our starting left-sided winger next season because of those numbers alone, and Peltz might just have to take a back seat to that. On the right, I feel like we need a new right-sided winger completely, with Malek stepping into a sort of auxiliary role there, being the backup to him rather than the first choice here. And that's kind of what he was at the start of the season. He was the backup to Souček, who almost certainly would have been putting up better numbers. So that's definitely a position we need to strengthen in. I just signed Napora as a sort of emergency loan just to fill that gap, so we had some options in that one. But we're definitely going to look for a right-sided player. So far, I want some potential youth prospects at the back if we can see them. We need a new first choice DM. I want a youth prospect to back up the centre mids, and we absolutely need a new first choice right winger. Very, very important. And now, the bit I'm very excited about, our attacking mids, and this is mostly going to be the same two players, isn't it, really? Okay, so technically we can include Mateusz Góra in this as well because, I mean, you know, he has played some games, mostly in that position. So it's fair to say we can include him. So we'll see about this. Pichara's got the most goals, but he's mostly played as the shadow striker. Góra I've interchanged into both positions, so this will be interesting. He has actually scored more goals per 90 minutes than Wisniewski, but it's mostly been in the cup, I think, that he's got those goals. Oh, he's got 3 goals in the league too, which ain't bad. Like, when he's in the team, starting games, he seems to do an all-right job of it, to be perfectly honest. Assists-wise, Wisniewski is the king of the assists, but it's not by much, to be honest. They don't really provide a lot of assists, these guys. It's fair to say they're mostly the guys on the end of goals rather than setting up their teammates. And I guess that kind of makes sense because when the ball comes to them, usually they're either shooting or in a position to shoot, or if they're not doing that, they're mostly going to be playing the ball out wide. And then it's like they're getting a lot of hockey assists, I expect, but not direct assists. So that's fair to say. Chances created per 90 minutes, it's a relatively similar story. Pichara's not really creating, he's more of a finisher. Wisniewski's a bit better on that one. In terms of crosses, I mean, Wisniewski's not completed a single cross this season because I don't think they would have ever been in a position to do that. Now, this is key. Wisniewski, 87% pass completion. He picks the ball up, he drops it off. It's nice to see. Pichara, maybe his is slightly less because he's more relied on to be a bit more of a poachery type of position, and Góra's is sort of in between. So I guess I can kind of accept that, but we'll keep an eye on that in future seasons when we've potentially got more players playing these roles. Passes completed. Again, more from Wisniewski, that makes sense. Key passes per game. Interestingly, Pichara actually plays the most key passes, so when he does get a chance to play a good ball, he's very capable of doing it, to be fair to him. Wisniewski's winning a decent number of headers too, which is nice. Pichara's not far behind. Well, they're not far behind, but Wisniewski's definitely sticking his head above the parapet as the best one there. But Pichara is hitting the target more often, but it's not by much. That Góra's actually putting up some fairly good numbers. I've got to be honest, Mateusz Góra, his numbers aren't far off of the other two. So I think he's a very, very worthy backup to them, particularly as they're both, one's 34 and one's 30. Góra's only 21. He's doing okay, and I think he could potentially move into a first-team berth more often next season. Shots per game, a few less for him. Dribbles per game, again, Wisniewski's definitely the king of that one. But Góra's putting in the work. Like, he's not been bad. He's been man of the match. He's averaging a 7 overall, considering how many games he's actually played, which is mostly substitute appearances. 10 starts and 21 off the bench. I've been impressed with Mateusz Góra, in all honesty. I still think we need more bodies in this position, though, because we've got 2 positions here and only 3 players for them. So I want a couple of young players to back these guys up and try to see what they do next year, because at 34, Wisniewski's going to be massively on the decline, and Pichara is just starting to turn that corner as well, potentially into decline. So we're going to have to rely on some youngsters. I know we've got, is it Filiarchuk, our youngster, the 15-year-old shadow striker, to potentially come in and do some jobs for us next year as well, if he continues to play decently. He did have that 1 appearances for us as well. So yeah, that's definitely an option. So just running over my thoughts for this. Youngsters all throughout the squad, of course. If I see anyone decent, I will try and sign them. We definitely need a new DM. We absolutely need a young backup for the CM position. We need a first-choice right-sided player, and we definitely want some more young bucks for the attacking midfield roles to give these guys some backup next year that can maybe give them a run for their money in some of the games if they start putting in the performances as well. Because we need, these are our key parts of this team, because this is where most of our goals come from. So that will finish things off. What I normally do at the end of one of these videos is I normally do a word of the day. So if you've got this far into the video, you can put it in the comments and I'll know you actually got that far into the video, unless you're a cheater who skipped to that point and looked in the comments or something. So I'm just rummaging around my desk to find something worth talking about. Here you go. So I don't know what this is. This is a flyer Em got in London when she went to see a band about a month ago, and it says Sunset Neon Cruise. So there you go. If you've got this far in the video, put Sunset Neon Cruise in the comments. And if you do enjoy these, drop a like on the video to let me know you want me to keep doing them. I still find them very, very almost therapeutic at times, to be honest. So I'm probably going to keep doing them anyway, to be honest. And yeah, if you're new to the channel and this is the first video of mine you're watching, why? But also subscribe. That'd be cool as well. And I'll join you guys tomorrow for the transfer window, where I try and actually put some of these plans into action. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.